Back to the Spot the Ball. Welcome back to the Spot the Ball podcast. This is your host, Ron Wells, and your boy.
Willie Love, my boy's be smooth today.
Woo,
look at the baby.
Para
Suavemente.
Yo, this is going to be a fun Spot the Ball podcast. Brought to you by MyBillReview.com. MyBillReview.com saves you money on all your essential services needs. Give them a call, 561-281-6099. That's 561-281-6099. Guys, we are back. It is no off season because we are talking about college football even still. Coming in with the big three. A little bit quiet on the Western Front, but we want to talk a little bit because the big three had news still nonetheless. Florida State's been quiet, so I'm happy about that. I like my team to be quiet. You know, all these people putting expectations out there. It is what it is. It's the offseason. They're going to talk. The only big thing with Florida State was their NFL draftees or potential draftees like Jamie Robinson being named Senior Bowl MVP of the practice week and things of that nature. He had a decent Senior Bowl as well. But outside of that, he's positioning himself to be a top 50 pick, which is great. Congratulations, Jamie Robinson, because he couldn't do that at South Carolina. Next up, let's get into, you want to go with the Juice or you want to go with Miami? We can do the.
We go to Juice. We can get Miami last. I think it's more happening with them.
Yeah, it's a lot more layers to that. So we're going with University of Florida and the Jalen Rashada story that just won't go away. Of course, it has a little bit of Miami ties, but we're going to get into it a little bit. And because it has a little bit of Miami ties, I'm going to let you get started on it. Go on.
Well, obviously, as we know, Rashada was committed to the University of Miami, which was expected to commit to Florida, and he made that decision and surprised everybody. Oh, that it's the NIL, this and that, which we can realize or figure out that those speculations had to be true.
Mm-hmm.
NIL, so this should go on Miami. Might have been the money for Rashada. Not all recruits, but with him, it might have been the money. Yeah. And then goes to Florida, which now we know that number was legit 13 mil. And that collective, which they're saying now the Florida collective lied or the deal fell through. And for what I've seen, it was more so he gets a certain amount up front, and then every year he will get an increase if he does what he does, got different requirements, media appearances, all those kind of things. And now he's committed to Arizona State, and we don't know exactly what he is getting now. From what I saw, again, it's all speculation at this point because we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It could be from the getting whatever he was going to get at Miami to 13 mil to maybe now nothing because we don't know yet. So until we know, we're going to speculate. It may not be as lucrative as it would have been. He just got to a place where now it's for the love of the game and the love of actually the place that you're in. So his story's a lot. We're going to go ahead and put this up there, messing up the money.
Yeah, they definitely messing up the money. So with the Miami deal, I honestly believe he liked the vibe of Miami. I do. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that he didn't like the vibe of Florida as much. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I think he liked the vibe of Miami. The incentive is that I don't think, and like I said, there always is lawyers. Mm-hmm. You got to remember, he's a California QB. California players in general can get representation in high school and negotiate these deals. So when they said the number is not that big, I'm like, being that I'm kind of moving towards this space and things of that nature, I knew with the California influence that number might actually be true. The $8 million that people were speculating at Miami was more than likely true or close. It might have been 6, it might have been 8, but people were thinking there's no way he could get more than Nico, who got $2 million, and we know it's $2 million. Like $2 million over 4 years. Now, these things do have appearance fees attached to it because you want to make sure when you're giving this person this money, if they have an appearance fee to be in Coral Gables or in Gainesville, Florida, then they can't transfer and still take your money. Make sense?
Right.
So the incentive-laden parts of this deal and the upfront signing bonuses per se being paid out upon signing and committing to an institution and then making appearance fees in the offseason, that happens. Like that I know happens for a fact. So when the speculation was the deal was now $13 million, and everybody and their mama from 247 Sports to Rivals to CNN to whomever had a voice kept saying, I know the number's big, but it's not that big. And I'm like, yeah, the number's big, and it's probably that big because he's a California quarterback, not just a California player, but now you're talking quarterbacks. Now, Nico signed so early in this NIL space that he didn't give time for his number to inflate. Now, Nico is a better prospect ranking-wise and probably a better – I believe he's the number one player in this class, not Arch Manning. Now, Arch Manning, everyone believes that he should be compensated the most in his NIL deal because of his last name. That is the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning. That is the son of their brother Cooper Manning, the oldest Manning brother, who basically got disqualified from football because of a spinal issue, and he couldn't play football after high school. He played at the same high school as his uncles and his dad, and that level of competition after watching him play versus Berkeley Prep in Tampa,
it's not that great.
The competition has been watered down. You can tell me OBJ came from that school, all that other great stuff, but the competition's watered down. On top of that, too, I have him outside of my top 30 players, to be honest with you. But his name, image, and likeness
carries a lot of weight.
Exactly. And that is what people are talking about. Like, he can go get deals from Oreo, Buick, Cadillac, ESPN, whatever, because you already know his name is a household brand name. Just like Blue Magic and American Gangster is a brand. And long and short, people didn't expect for
with the Blue Magic, bro.
Hey, his name is Blue Magic, to be honest with you. No matter how much you cut and slice, nobody thought with the known entity of Nico, who everyone, if you make Arch's last name Jones, he ain't getting what Nico's getting.
Who?
Exactly.
Who was his name?
Exactly.
He's an imposter.
Exactly. So Nico got $2 million that we know of.
Right.
Like, we knew it's reportable. It's in California. You know it, even though he's going to Tennessee. It was reported. It's true. It's fact. And people balked at $2 million because Bryce Young, when he first came into college, got $1 million, and Nick Saban pitched a fit. Now, if you look at Bryce Young now, top player coming into this NFL draft, you would honestly say that he was worth $5 to $10 million last year for Alabama and didn't win the title.
Big facts.
So back to the issue at hand with Jaden Rashada. He was the last top 100 player that played quarterback on the board.
All because of the shenanigans.
Even with the shenanigans, even in July, he was the last. So if you're the last top 100 player that now your position factors in and you're a quarterback.
Yeah, that bag come luck. We've been for you at this point.
Exactly. Now we've been. So you had the likes of the Florida Gators, Texas A&M, and Miami, all big players in the NIL space or with perceived big pockets, bidding for his services on top of the fact that he can sling it and he is a good quarterback.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was a recipe for disaster.
It's so much so this whole NIL space is causing so much ripples. You got in the college basketball world with Jim Bohan saying that teams are buying teams with NIL, so that's how big it is. So for you to be on the board that late, and now you got even in other sports, other coaches say, "Hey, look, man, hold on, man, they buying squads." NIL is real.
But see, they were already doing that. Like, we know about the bag, man. And on top of that, too, with one and done, they scream the same stupid BS. And you know what it has to do with, the people that look more like me than the people that look like the front of my hand. So now it comes down to this. The Florida Gators did the right thing they did the right thing after the fact when they didn't pay up. And it was $500,000 up front. It is verified now. $500,000 up front, and then divide the 13 by 4. So with all due respect, and I mean with all due respect, all y'all people who thought it wasn't possible, it's possible.
It's bag big enough to make it possible.
And the bags are big enough. When you talk about quarterbacks, put it to you like this: if it was $13 million. Do you know the University of Florida makes that just in attendance to Florida Gator games, home games for one season?
Oh, yeah, TV deals, everything.
So who's to say what Anthony Richardson, who didn't play well this year, was worth to the Florida Gators? You're about to find out. But at the end of the day, it is the quarterback, number one. I don't see this going for left tackles or corners or anything like that nature.
They're not as we all know, the quarterback
stirs the drink.
And he's the most important position on the field besides whoever's protecting that quarterback's blind side.
Yeah, but that's the insurance policy.
Right.
You don't pay as much for the insurance policy as you do for the house
right?
or the car.
100%.
So with that being said, it is the quarterback position. And then on top of that, too, you took so long to allow name, image, and likeness to happen that this is bound to happen.
Yeah.
And unless you recreate, which people have been talking about in the space, I'm gonna blow the lid off of it, but it ain't that much of a lid to blow off. The college football playoff wants to disband from the NCAA. They do. It is being talked about amongst agents of athletic directors, agents of players, agents of coaches. It is being talked about in those circles. The only circle that don't want it to happen is the presidents of these colleges or institutions. But if they break away, which may happen faster than you think because there's billions at stake, like $500 billion at stake in the next 10 years. If they break away and there's 75 schools in the college football playoff.
Not January Madness.
Oh my gosh. So I don't think it's going to be January Madness, but what I'm saying is they will be the governing body, not the NCAA. And what will end up happening is you have 4 or 5 conferences or 4 or 5 divisions, and those divisions play each other until a rotating schedules commence and so on and so forth. That's what's being talked about. But at the end of the day, that entity will collectively bargain with high school players.
That's going to be a headache coming soon.
See, and I don't think that's a headache. I think that actually will start to govern the system. And now you'll get your salary cap. If they're smart, they'll be like baseball and won't have one. Or they'll be like basketball and have a floating cap. But at the end of the day, that's where it's going.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see.
Hey, look, it's going. But this other BS that's been put out there that it's a Title IX issue, it is not. You don't have enough women. Title IX, if people don't know what it is, Title IX is basically the law that governs college funding for athletics. And if there's not enough demand for a particular sport, then you don't have to create a women's division of that sport. So if there's not enough women who want to play football or enough women who want to play football, then they don't have to create a women's football. What they can do is allow the few women who want to play and can make a team join college football with the men. Like there's a couple women who have played college football who have played kickers and some receiving positions, so on and so forth. You don't hear about them as much, but there has been. So this is not a Title IX issue. So anybody trying to make NIL, hey, these men are getting paid more than these women, NIL is not for that. Name, image, and likeness is an individual thing. So if I'm an individual and I command a certain, how much am I worth to a brand, my name, my image, my likeness is worth being attached to this brand or this collective, then so be it. I don't have to be equitably paid to the next person.
And that was the initial issue when it became the NIL. Like, how are these kids going to be paid? Is one kid going to get 10 mil, another kid going to get 20,000? That's what it is.
Yeah.
What are you bringing forth to our program? If you're not bringing forth the flavor, the juice, the sexiness to the program, you're not going to get paid as such. And I have not heard a case so far about locker rooms splitting because of NIL, which is surprising because initially that's what a lot of people thought was.
But that was the thing they wanted to put in people's head. And they want to say that these young men who look not like them are going to squabble over this because they say, well, what you making? What you making?
All right, so, hey, let me look something now. Well, you get your own bag.
Last time I checked, do you see the 12th man on the bench in the NBA complaining about what LeBron made?
Nope.
Do you see the kicker caring about what Peyton Manning was making?
Nope. That's Pat McAfee. That boy was raw.
Pat McAfee was raw, and he didn't care about Peyton Manning's salary. So to get back to the main issue at hand, UF, after the fact, did what they were supposed to do because there were going to be lawyers if they didn't let him out of that NIL.
That's right.
Or let him out of his national letter of intent.
It's going to be ugly.
It was going to be lawyers. And now there still might be lawyers, but those numbers were verified and true, and you can say whatever you want, but you can't talk bad about Jaden Rashada because he got what he negotiated. And people decided they wanted to pay him, but those people also reneged on the deal.
And so now it's time for me to slide, so you can't get mad at it.
Exactly. He didn't do anything wrong. Jaden Rashada, his representation, didn't do anything wrong.
You can't talk.
The only people that did wrong was the UF Collective, who didn't want to pay, and they did it outside of the period in which they could withdraw.
You heard that? We can't talk numbers. We don't under numbers.
Exactly.
Man, so going towards Miami, like I said, even still, we have a play over there. Antoine Jackson just asked to be released from his NLI. Obviously, Kevin Steele may have been in play with that. We're going to Bama, or it can be that man's in love and want to go be by his girlfriend. So we hearing Eastern Carolina, Colorado in the mix, whatever. But Antoine Jackson just asked for his release in the NLI.
I wanted to ask about that, but that just happened today. And it's too fresh for me. I wanted to ask about that.
Because you don't really see no articles about it. Like, you see the headline, but there's nothing diving deep into it.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very brand spanking new. But again, like I say, still is the Bama. Lance Guidry, which was at Marshall, was set to go to Tulane, which now Miami has to give them, per report, a hefty buyout to come in top 3 defense. I guess Rui said he got the bag.
But no, this is the same thing they did with Manny.
Yeah.
They paying somebody to coach at your school who you could have had beforehand.
You could have just went and hired him
my
again.
God.
But I guess it's crazy. Sometimes they say, "Hey, look, my boy, you got to prove it before I bring you in." But it's, again, I still respect that in the end of the day, because again, for me as a fan of the program, if you see poor results, it's time to move on. This program been through too many years where you done stuck with somebody when you should have left, and should have been moved on. And now, year one, all right, offense was terrible. Let's move on. Defense had its moments. It had its spotlight. It had its shine, what have you. But still, it wasn't what it used to be. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
And so you bring in a guy that's top 3 nationally. Granted, it's at Marshall.
No. He did what he was supposed to do versus the competition that he faced at Marshall.
So if you can get the most out of your players out there, now you bring it to another cream of the crop, another talent landscape, and you can get the most out of them in that same scheme to get them to emulate at least something that you did out there. Mm-hmm. That's something to hang your hat on.
Well, with defenses, just to interject a little bit, with defenses, it's supposed to be a little bit quicker
than the offense.
Personnel will be a little bit of an issue, but not much of an issue because it's defense. And it's a more reactionary.
It's a hybrid type defense. Talking about 3-2, I'm talking 4-2-5 type thing. You know what I mean? So it's like you're more so now.
A lot of people play that already.
Yeah, so 4-2-5, 3-3-5. So there's a lot of speed. That's what's down there. You're not going and getting real stocky, beefy linebackers to play a base 4-3 or a 3-4 and got a lot of edge rushers. So we talking about now Cyrus Moss and Najee Kelly and Malik Allen, Malik Curtis. What's the kid last name? Malik Bryant, yes. Coming out of that in that linebacker position, that star position, they can now thrive in that scheme. So you get Cyrus on the field because he wasn't on the field. Well, he couldn't get on the field. Not in the last scheme. He couldn't get on the field.
I hear you.
But I'm saying
I watched his film.
That's what I'm saying. But see, another scheme maybe give him a chance.
Maybe.
But that's just his case. We know what Najee can do.
Oh no, Najee. I'm a firm believer in Najee.
And we see Malik Bryant. So
I'm a firm believer in those.
Again, so we got to see.
I'm a firm believer. Taylor, I'm a firm believer.
We got to see.
But at the end of the day, my only issue, and I've said this in previous pods, is that these hires are being done so late. When the spring you've already forfeited spring.
That's what the problem is the fact that you still don't get, unless they know, and these kids got their playbooks. I know to us, you have not gave us anything of offensive coordinator. So unless it's y'all holding down until some things work its way out, it's either that or y'all don't have an OC. You feel me? So it's like
for me. When it comes to Miami, it's the timing right now.
100%.
I'm not even critical of this hire. I actually
like the hire.
I like the creativeness behind the hire. I was not expecting this. ick is about this hire is the timing of it. You have literally forfeited strength and conditioning. You got to understand, coordinators give plans to strength and conditioning coaches, not so much the head coach unless they're the play call of that particular side of the ball. And we know Mario's not the play call on either side of the ball. He is the most influential CEO of it, but he can't give a directive to his strength and conditioning staff. Do I want them faster? Do I want them leaner? Leaner. Do I want them bulkier? So on and so forth. You won't know that until you have the directive of what scheme you're playing. And you don't know that so far into mat drills. Yeah. They started mat drills on the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th of January. We're a month in. You can't reshape a body in a month prior to spring. So with that being said, and it was the same issue last year. They hired Steele on the 5th of February. They hired Gaddis on the 7th of February of last year.
Gaddis had his own problems. I'm not going to blame that.
No. But you still didn't have the scheme.
Your point is valid. I'm just saying Gaddis had his own problems.
Shoot, Steele did too.
But that's why I want to ask you about that, because you know how you feel about Steele.
I know this one. So go.
You know what I'm saying? Bro,
how does he go to Bama?
But see, my thing is it just going to be this man for find like the fountain and you out of nowhere and turn no one's dog, because they got dogs out there, so it really don't matter. I can say it don't matter the scheme who you got out there, but they got it out there.
You ready?
So do you think he go out there and they're gonna have a stellar defense, or Bama's gonna have yes.
Okay,
yes.
So
that's all I want to hear from you.
I held my tongue. Mm-hmm. Thank God I held my tongue on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So I held my tongue on Twitter when this hire was made, because I am not a big Kevin Steele fan at all. He got booted from LSU the year before they won the title because they thought they could have a better defense. And they were right. This is not the last LSU title. This is the one back in 2013, 2012, 2013. Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. Kevin Steele and Saban have a pseudo relationship. But from what I have read and some of the things that are chatted about, Nick Saban has already hired Jeremy Pruitt on his off-field assistant staff. So he wanted to hire Jeremy Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt, as you know, when he left Tennessee, left it with some NCAA violations. Mm-hmm. He can't physically hire him for on-field staff
until that's clear.
Exactly. It's called a show cause hearing. So he has to show a reason that the stuff that happened at Tennessee wasn't on Jeremy Pruitt, and prove to the NCAA that, hey, he can coach. Because if he hires him as an on-field coach and the show cause hearing disqualifies Jeremy Pruitt, he's now a coordinator down. But if he waits one more year, which is next year,
figure all this out. Next year we talk about Jeremy Pruitt.
We're coming in, and Kevin Steele is gone. So Jeremy Pruitt was consulted on the Kevin Steele hire, and what Jeremy Pruitt probably said was, do you want to take a little bit more money and a better situation and come here and hold this spot for me while I feed you my defensive scheme that Nick likes to run? Because Jeremy Pruitt has been by Nick Saban's side several times. He left Florida State. He came from Alabama to Florida State after being a DB coach for Nick Saban already. Helped Florida State win that national title. His defense was a good reason why they won it. No offense. Jameis was phenomenal that year. Don't get it twisted. But that defense had all 11 drafted.
Darwin.
And then the backups.
You got that's just who they love to face that.
Josh Sweat, who is on the – they had –
Was Kane Doe there at the time?
Kane Doe was there. Like, Jeremy Pruitt was a dog recruiter on top of all of that. So he has 6 players in the Super Bowl that he coached. Like, currently, right now, 6 players in the Super Bowl that he coached. Coming back to it, Jeremy Pruitt came back to Alabama, won 2 more national titles, then got the Tennessee job. And now that is the reason behind it. So before it happened, I'm glad I bit my tongue, because I was like,
found all that out on the back end.
Yeah, I found all that out on the back end. And then now it's being reported on chats and some background,
that makes sense.
So the message boards are going crazy. But I thought Nick Saban was past it, because I don't really like the Tommy Rees hire. and I definitely don't like the Kevin Steele hire. But I understand
that's like I understand the timing.
The Jeremy Pruitt hire.
I understand the timing, but I'm happy that they got a hire, especially if you're gonna run this kind of scheme. If you're gonna go hybrid 3-3-5, 4-2-5, that kind of help your depth issues up front.
Yes,
it helps Miami's depth issues up front for this year. So you're not rotating so many bodies because you're playing especially on the back end, especially not the defensive lineman on the interior. So you get to run a little bit more faster guys out there. It's kind of the scheme that West Virginia ran before. You're going to have a bigger backer out there as one of those end spots. You're not going to have 4 true. Like
Messidor came from a 3-3-5.
Yeah.
So you get where I'm coming from.
No, that's facts, man. So that's why I said that for me, like you said, I didn't see it because I knew we've been talking for so long. What's going to happen with Steele, but I ain't see this name. I didn't even it wasn't even like a
The only criticism I have is that his prior stop to Marshall.
West KU, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No.
Not even that?
FAU.
Oh, yeah?
He left along with Telly Lockett, the running backs coach. Him and Telly Lockett both left Willie Taggart at FAU last year. I'm sorry, in 2021. And I watched FAU football in 2021, and I ain't like that defense. So
again, we're gonna see what he do with different personnel.
No, but Marshall played so much better. I watched a lot of Marshall football because a running back from Florida State who I had an affinity for, who couldn't stay healthy at Florida State, Kalen LeBron. Now he's going to the league. I was watching them for that, and they held Notre Dame down like any other team did this year. So to be honest with you, and that's the reason why I don't like Tommy Rees at Alabama, is because Marshall held them down so bad. So
we can see. So now we can see. Besides defense, we're gonna see if Jeremy Pruitt gonna do that. I don't see a dip in Bama defense. I actually can see an improvement.
Jeremy Pruitt is better than Golding, but Golding is still a good defensive coordinator.
So with Tommy Rees and Bryce going, we can say I'm not gonna bank on it, but we potentially can see a dip.
Oh no,
in Bama offense.
I don't see Bama being in the playoff right now, but I gotta watch a lot of film
to see what goes on.
July, the last week of July. We're going to give you our preseason picks for who's winning conferences, who's going to be the fresh team out the gate, that type of stuff. But I don't make those decisions right now. But as far as right now,
I want to wait till spring.
Man.
I want to wait till spring. I want to give me a little bit more time because
I need to see the transfer.
This off season is a little different this year. This is not really one of the ones that we know.
July is the final rosters, so that's why I don't even want to work out because transfer portal happens again.
I just want to go through the spring period. I just want to go through the spring period.
And I didn't even care about that.
So, to transition, man, we
don't do Friday night lights here in Florida State. We have our spring game on a Saturday like you're supposed to.
Oh, you're not. That was new, too. Again, this is a brand new offseason to me.
Oh, no doubt. You guys are running away from Florida State. Y'all want to host the same weekend.
Stop it.
Gators are doing Thursday night lights. What kind of spring game is that? Florida State is on Saturday.
Man. We are all witness. Last night, I made sure I stayed up and did not go to bed early for this reason, man. Shout out to my GOAT, LeBron James, for breaking an all-time scoring record last night. Only solidified how much more the GOAT he is to me. Everybody has their argument. Everybody got their reason why.
I'm not even having that argument today.
What have you. But to me, it has to be. And did it on hundreds of fewer games than your boy Kareem. Why they put that boy Kareem in the hellhole yesterday? Every time boy Brown made a shot, you got Kareem back there just.
See, you wanna bait me, and I'm not gonna let you bait me.
Why you like that?
Because this is LeBron's day.
Listen, bait him. I'm gonna get him because Jordan, your goat. I get it. I understand. He ain't your goat neither.
No.
Oh, that's your go.
I'm just letting you have.
I'm not having
your
nothing.
moment.
I'm not having nothing because.
Congratulations
I'm not.
to LeBron.
I'm not.
Whatever your middle name is, James. Do you know his middle name?
I don't.
See, that's how you know he's not a GOAT. But either way,
stop. You're going to tell me, Jeffrey.
Look, with all due respect, and I mean this.
Go ahead.
From the bottom of my heart.
Go ahead.
LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, from the moment that they came into the league, I watched every single significant or seminal moment. I remember the team that Kobe Bryant scored his first points on. I remember the team that LeBron James scored his first points on. I've seen their first point, and I've seen their last, or their most recent, and the last point that
you said like LeBron, so I'm retired today.
I've seen all of LeBron, well, not all of LeBron's points, but I've seen all of his career, the full breadth of his career to this point. And when I tell you, I am so appreciative that I got to see it, and I'm still watching it and quote unquote witnessing it. That this was fun. Even if you want to have these discussions about GOAT and this and that and the third, I am so proud to have seen it. And to be honest with you, it was enjoyable last night. I stayed up to watch it. It was enjoyable. It stinks that his team is just not good right now. I'm not here to talk about his team. I'm just simply here to talk about him. And to see his consistency, even though he's had a few injury-riddled seasons the last 3 years, to see his consistency, to see the work that he puts in, how he's evolved over time, how the NBA has changed from the time that he started his first 4 seasons. Yeah, he was playing a closer brand of basketball to what Michael Jordan was playing when he retired. But his next 4 and the next 8 of his career, or next 6 of his career, so we're talking 20 years, 16 out of the last 20, it's just been a different game. It really has been a different game. But to see him thrive in 2 different forms of basketball, great career. And I just have so much respect and affinity for him. I ain't here to talk about the GOAT debate. He can have his little gloating and all that stuff.
Because he is. But I'm not going to talk about either. We're gonna get another day just so we can have that discussion.
You can try all this because he is without knowing his middle name.
He is.
Because I know Kobe's middle name. I know Kareem's middle name. I know Kareem's name before he changed his name to Kareem. I know Larry's middle name. I know Irving's middle name. I know all these middle names.
That's all good,
but the LeBron name, I have no idea what his middle name is.
I'm just looking at
Is
this.
his name French?
LeBron.
I know one other person named LeBron that is as old as him, and it stuns me still to this day. Shout out to my cousin-in-law LeBron Covington. Yes, he is 37 years old, and yes, his name is LeBron. But long and short,
you can laugh when I take his name.
What is his name?
Raymond.
Oh, I did hear that before. I just hadn't remembered it. See that? Look, all I gotta say is congratulations to LeBron, King James, the Bible himself.
It was great to watch. Ever since that man turned 38, that man been on a tear.
Hey, look,
he's been on a tear.
Health can do that.
You don't see too many guys.
Hopefully, you don't tell nothing else on his way through.
I hope not. Because we got to think about it too. If when he had his first year at the Lakers, when he pulled that hamstring, we got to imagine that man probably could have broke this record first 10, 15 games of the season because he missed a long stretch that first year with the Lakers.
Oh, he missed a long stretch. The first year, he missed a long stretch. The third year, and he missed. This is the 4th year.
That's why I don't want to get into it because everybody say injuries and with the other players and how long they played in that third. But hey, man, if you got to think about it, the same deal. We take a lot of people say Brady to go, but a lot of this stuff is because of longevity and taking care of him. So that's why you smash the record books.
Again, with like LeBron, same thing with Brady. Brady played in the brand of football where you could actually hit him, and then he influenced the game
that you couldn't even touch him.
Exactly, because somebody mistakenly rolled into his knee. Like it was truly a mistake. And one season that he has only been hurt 1 year changed the level of branding of football and how quarterbacks get hit today. Lawrence Taylor had a quote when he's just recently said it on The Athletic. He was sitting in an interview. Guys, go check that out. But he had a quote. He was like, man, Brady ain't my GOAT. It's still Joe Montana. Because Joe Montana didn't have the rules that Tom Brady had. And he got hit a lot. I hit him. I know. He said, if I did a quarter of the things that I did to Joe Montana to Tom Brady, I would be arrested. I would not be in the NFL. I would not have had the career I had. It's just not the same quarterback.
Errors is errors.
Errors is errors. And you learn a lot, too.
A lot changed.
You protected people from themselves.
Like with basketball, it's like basketball came in, like I say, early on. You weren't shooting a jumper like you were shooting it now. Everybody's shooting a jumper. Then towards the back end, well, you can say part 2 of Bron's career, because you said the first 8 and then first 7, and he went to Miami. And then that's when, at that time, Boston came with that super team first, and then that's when that whole super team era became.
I honestly can say,
so,
with beyond a shadow of a doubt,
mm-hmm.
after they did away with the brand of basketball that LeBron started his career with,
mm-hmm.
after the Pistons lost to the Spurs in 06.
Mm-hmm.
When the Pistons went back to back,
I would say it was
06 or 07.
Kind of. That's when, because they played 05, and I know Miami won in 06.
And
then I know Bron went.
Okay, so
I think Bron went 07 when he went to play San Antonio. So I think it was 05. Because he got swept by San Antonio in 07, if I'm not mistaken.
But the Pistons were the last time they were going to allow that brand of basketball to be played.
Yeah, that boy was tough.
They just weren't going to allow it because the Pistons killed the Lakers dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, no disrespect to the Pistons at all, but they were going to change that brand. And it's just the way it's going to be played. Like they have to keep people watching. You have to evolve. I get it. My thing is we've gone so far to a different space that Bron's game today does not look like the game that
his game is still his game is so much so still similar to the older brand. So that's where you get the bully ball from, because it's like.
But where do you see bullies?
But see, you don't see him. That's what I'm saying. For him, is the bully ball being how big he is. So him going and still driving.
Him being big. I'm not saying he couldn't play in other areas. I'm not.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying he still plays in his play style is similar to back then.
Nah, nobody was letting a 6'9" guy shoot a 3.
No, but see, at the same time, he had to evolve in the same thing.
He definitely had to.
But I'm saying for his when Bron first came in the league, what Bron was doing, Bron was shooting jumpers. But Bron was going in the hole like reckless abandon.
I'm not even debating that.
So that's what I'm saying. With now the era is still being like them boys shooting a lot of jumpers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just more saying his play style is still in the sense reminiscent. A lot of threes, but his play style is still reminiscent of older days. But he has evolved and made his play style to where he can sustain what's going on now. And that's what I'm saying.
No, and my respect for him is for that. Because with Kareem, like you were saying, he was just sitting there taking his shots every time they were looking at him. Kareem came from an era where he was so good in college that they told him he couldn't dunk no more. And then he gets to the league, and they showed a graphic on ESPN of how many threes LeBron took.
And how much he took like 2 threes, if I'm not mistaken.
He made one. He only took 18 because the 3-point shot didn't come in until he had already played 10 years.
Yeah.
And he played for another 10 years.
Yeah. And then there was the fact that when he broke the record, it was just like, it was 27,000 or something like that, or 30,000. And then he built up on it.
He built up on it because he was just still playing. My thing with
he played till 42.
Yeah, but Cap is different. Cap okay. Just for context, and like I said, I'm not trying to have this debate. I'm just saying, for context, you were like, is Jordan your GOAT? I don't even debate it because I had to sit and have these conversations with my dad and his guys in his era, and they wouldn't let me talk unless I watched their era. And for me, Cap and Jordan are my GOATs. Or you can call it Jordan because I watched the majority of his career. I was born in '85, but I understood basketball and I learned.
No doubt, because the competition definitely is tough for them. Because again, like I said, now Bron came in that super. Like I say, he came into it, but towards the back end, that's when that super team era became it. Like I said, Boston started it first.
Yeah,
that's what their Miami created, and everybody.
And everybody's talking about these super teams. You got to remember there was just less teams back when MJ played.
But everybody was spread and everybody was drafted. So don't get me wrong.
And free agency didn't really start.
Chicago drafted a dynasty now. So for me, where I go with it, like I say, to not super get deep, but I looked at it and just all championships, just compare rosters. Jordan had the better roster. I'm not saying they went and paid for it. It's just as a GM, the board did what they needed to do. So they put a team around that man and what he was good at. And you feel me, Jordan, Jordan took the shots, the greatest shots, but Jordan also has moments where he passed up shots to get the right shots.
Those we come from an era where, okay, put it like this, and we'll end on this point with the basketball conversation. What you just said about those two eras, there's a player who's an active commentator right now today, and I'm gonna weave him in. So give me a second. LeBron after year 3 or 4 got to play positionless basketball. All right, that's the era that we're talking about is positionless basketball. One, because there's not enough people who are 7 feet tall that there was back then. So that the necessity for it all. When you have somebody like Dwight Howard dominating the game like he did
through his stretch,
especially defensively, and there's only 3 other people who could do it.
Today's kids will never know.
Exactly, but there was only 3 other players even during Dwight Howard's stretch of 4 or 5 years who were his size who couldn't even compete with him.
Right.
As opposed to MJ's day where you had a position-based game where a point guard distributed the ball. If you're great, if you get 16, 17 points a game.
Amazing.
There were 2 dozen Chris Pauls. So when people try to tell me who Chris Paul is, I'm going to tell you who he ain't. He ain't even Kevin Johnson. So, because I've seen too many point guards who are actually point guards like him. He is not an anomaly. The last era had 25 people like him, and about 20 of them were better. But in this era of basketball, you also had centers. You had 2 dozen centers in the league out of 28 teams. Every team had a center, a real one. So
6'9" centers out here now.
So when you talk about, hey, I'm playing point guard, I'm distributing. Hey, I'm playing shooting guard, I'm shooting. Hey, I'm playing small forward, I'm doing a little bit of point guard work. I'm doing a little bit of center work, and I'm also doing a little bit of shooting guard work. So there was, like I said, 2 dozen Scottie Pippen types. Like, I'm not saying I'm not degrading Scottie. I'm just saying that there were other people like Scottie Pippen in the league who did what Scottie Pippen did. And the anomaly was because these people were getting phased out was someone like a Moses Malone back in the day. The closest thing to Moses Malone don't even have as many combined rebounds as Moses Malone has offensive rebounds, and that's Dennis Rodman. So at a 6'10" power forward who could also score and rebound at 20 rebounds a game, those players were getting phased out first. Power forwards were getting phased out first. Then centers got phased out. Now it's it's a game of point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards. And you got a couple of guys who are anomalies like KD or like Luka who are or LeBron who are in the game. There were 10 people like LeBron when LeBron in MJ's era. One in particular was Karl Malone, who was second on the list. He just didn't get a chance to shoot. So he's running pick and roll with John Stockton. Again, not positionless basketball because you know why? He had Greg Ostertag, a center who was rebounding and getting small points. LeBron is so great. Please understand, he is in my top 4 or 5. 4 through 7, you can debate till the cows come home. It's just my top 3 are just different. And it's just because I was forced to see the era before me. And I was in and blessed enough to be in the era just before you.
But that's normally the debate. So I done been in there, I done seen it, and I heard it. You know, for me, I guess just what's most important to me as far as who's the best is out of everybody, statistically wise, who does this, that, 3rd, 4th, 5, 6, who does it the best, right? So I like I say, Jordan was dominant. He got 6 of them, undefeated. Like, I get it, the era, the competition. I get it. But that's what my whole thing, too. That discussion is like, y'all going, because a lot of people say, well, he got 6, Brian got 4, and he went 4 and 6, I say, well, for one, that's why I say Jordan forever had the better roster, depending on who he matched up with. You know what I mean? And 2,
no, it's not even
you
that.
gotta,
it's not even that for me.
You also got to think, that's why I said you go Bill. If you want to talk about ring count, you go Bill.
No, Bill Russell's in my
But that's what I'm saying. If you're going to talk about great, that's the argument. You got to go with Bill. If that's what you're going to sit here and tell me.
The reason why I have Kareem over Bill Russell, Bill Russell's in my 4 through 7, where you can debate any way you want.
That's facts.
Okay. The reason why I have Kareem over Bill is because what Kareem did even before the league. So just a little sprinkle in, right? Kareem never lost in high school. He never lost. He lost one game in college versus Notre Dame in the championship game. Kareem went to 9 finals and won 6, and has 4 finals MVPs, and has 6 regular season MVPs, and 3 defensive player of the year awards.
Well, no, I'm saying Cap different. Cap different.
For me, with Cap, that's why it kind of touches a little different.
I don't think,
so when people say ring counts, I'm just like.
But that's why
the dominance for your whole life.
That's why, like I said, I tell people, I say, look, man, you gotta think about it. That's why when I go with
and he got 2 as a coach. Like Cap is so different.
That's when I go with Bron, like, you gotta think about it. In this era, cats built teams to stop one person in this league.
Oh, no doubt.
That was Bron. So when you talking about, oh yeah, he this, that, third, I said, well, bro, it's gonna be hard for you to beat Clay, Steph, and KD.
Oh no,
that's gonna be tough.
But
like San Antonio, you earned that one.
Oh yeah,
you earned both of those. And when you got swept, and then on the back end, you earned both of those.
Yeah,
I tell you that, Dallas, you earned that one.
Yeah,
you earned that.
No, but that's not even the point. Like you said, they built teams to stop him. They built teams to stop a lot of people, but in this era, the type of team that needed to beat him had to change the type of gameplay like the transition of him playing this way in this era. It was caused because of him, and I give all props to King James for that. You don't have the 3-ball era without LeBron James because no one looked like him in that way, so they had to change how they're delivering. So I literally used to say, before there was a San Antonio doing what they did in that series, I literally used to say, if the Heat get 8 threes before the third quarter, you're losing that game. It was just that simple. It was just simple math because how efficient LeBron is, how efficient Wade is, and how many rebounds Wade and Bosh and LeBron get together, you can't beat them at that game. They're just too hyper efficient.
I give San Antonio had that scheme.
They were shooting a shoot. They shot so many threes and made so many. I didn't think exactly. I couldn't fathom that somebody would make 17 threes in a game.
But see, at the same time, what I say too is like again, that's why the game is a team aspect of it. In that series, everybody folded on LeBron the second go around against San Antonio. Because when you look at the stats, you go top 10 scores, like 6 or 7 of them is Spurs.
Yeah, but
so
again,
you got Bron and Bosh and Wade on the back end, so you didn't get the contribution you needed to.
I don't even think
it was a team.
So when you're saying the contribution, again, nobody saw Danny Green
going crazy the way he did,
and it wasn't the style of play that it was a real shock to the NBA system. And that's why you fire a Mark Jackson for Steve Kerr, because he knew how to play and run that scheme.
That's facts.
And then you give him what Mark Jackson told y'all before anybody believed him, the 2 greatest shooters of all time on the same doggone team.
It's going to be a problem.
On a team that didn't even have a top 100 shooter of all time and Danny Green, who lit you up. Now you give him that. I can run that Spurs system with a little bit of Phoenix. And I can do exactly what I need to do to beat LeBron.
Yeah, it's facts. And then you add in KD in the mix, and it's like, because ain't no way when he got swept, we knew.
But they had already lost 5-1, or was it? Yeah, it was 5-1 the first time they played Golden State before they came back and beat Golden State the following season.
Yeah, because that's
that first year that LeBron was in.
But see, that's when K-Love went out, Kyrie went out. That was a crazy year. Yeah, we got likes of Matthew Dellavedova.
But they were already. But again, that system was still whooping they behind before they came back.
That
3-1.
That year, the first year, we can foresee the loss.
No, but even the second year, you almost thought that was done.
It
was nasty until they came back.
LeBron and Kyrie was different.
But
Bron and Kyrie were different.
Were they different before in the first 4 games?
No.
Exactly.
So, but boy said, money on the line. What are we gonna do? Barbecue and mildew. They show the dogs.
Look at you using daddy's phrase. Barbecue mildew.
No, we'll definitely have
you see how we can get going over that conversation?
We can see when NFL is done, we can probably have more conversation when we definitely go back into basketball. We go into basketball within like the next 2 weeks, truthfully.
Yeah.
Because this is the time we said we're going to it after All-Star break. Things get going. So All-Star break is not this weekend coming up, but the next weekend.
We got to talk about this because it just happened. I don't want to miss it.
What's that?
The Kyrie trade.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Pat, you failed us.
Look.
You failed us, Pat. You should have got Kyrie from Miami. You failed us, though.
They had to pay that boy.
Who that?
The less melanated shooting guard.
What are you talking about? A hero?
Yeah, Tyler Hero.
Less melanated shooting
I can't call him the other one. So the Tyler Hero deal prohibited them from even trading.
But it was that whole deal. The whole reason that prohibited it was the whole KD. It was KD and Kyrie, like, bro, what they gonna do type thing. So
they had to
sign something. You had to sign them because
that money was gone.
That Brooklyn was like a standstill. So free agency was on pause because everybody trying to figure out
no doubt
what y'all doing.
So I don't think Pat failed you.
I'm talking to trade this time.
No, but with this trade here,
get Kyle Lowry out of it.
You can't. Nobody wants.
Yeah.
So this trade with Dallas, right?
Right.
Everybody knew Dallas wanted him the most.
Mm-hmm.
Even back when this deal was going on back in July, everybody knew it. It's not a shock. And what makes it even worse for people, these LA fans, trying to tell me that, like you said, Pat blew it. They think that LA blew it.
No, but nobody won't like Russ right about now. And I feel like Russ get a lot of disrespect. I feel like Russ got a lot.
Russ is good on a bad team.
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know if this is a team like that is very indicative of who Russ is, because we seen what Russ did in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we seen what Russ did in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Russ at this caliber, and even still last night. Yeah, like his jumper is not what it used to be, but he made some big shot last night. Again, that team is just not constructed well enough to really compete.
But there's a reason why they're not constructed well enough. So I hear you on that, but with the Kyrie trade, he goes to Dallas, plays with Luka.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie has had enough experience playing with KD and Bron to know how to give up the ball. What I really think this trade boils down to is, and I don't think anybody has said this yet, Dallas, for the first time in a minute, has a second player that is an all-star, right? On top of that, too, you're going to really get to see if Luka can actually play with a superstar. Yeah, so it's not Kyrie trying to go get his bag. That is
they complimented out there as a team, because it's like you got Kyrie, you got Luka, you got Tim Hardaway Jr.
I'm not. It should work.
That's on paper. That's what I'm saying. They got a well complemented team for what they want to do.
But you just really don't know
if they can put it all together yet, man.
Now it's not even putting it together. Luka has the biggest usage rate I've ever seen. It's more than James Harden.
Who wins and loses you games out there half the time? And in Dallas.
Look, this is the highest usage rate, even more than James Harden. I want people to really hear that. Luka has a higher usage rate than James Harden in Houston. So we're really trying to see, like we learned with James Harden.
Speaking of Russ, I just happened to just go and check an alert.
I just saw another alert too about college football, but I don't want to go back.
Oh, you're not. So this is on topic, but they talking about Lakers talking D'Lo and Russ trade. They're saying Russ to Utah and D'Lo to LA.
Okay, okay, here we go. Just to entertain that for a second. Now that we just got done. Okay, we ain't really done with Kyrie and Luka. Look, it remains to be seen. We learned about James Harden. He can't play with nobody else.
No.
Even out there in Philly.
Oh, no.
Now that he's lost a step, he's playing a little bit better. He didn't play well, like you said in the playoffs last year. Getting back to what you just said, this hypothetical. D'Lo going back to the Lakers, and for us, the money matches. All fine, well, and dandy. I would welcome Russ to go play with Ant-Man than to have D'Lo over there playing with Ant-Man right now.
But see, I don't think Minnesota was going to work out anyway when they got Rudy Gobert.
Oh, no doubt.
Because that's where they lost me at with that. So I'm like, you got Cat, and you got Rudy. How that's going to work? I didn't think that was going to work right then and there.
Bro, here's in D-Lo don't play with a faster pace, so I think it'll be a better fit. You need easy baskets for somebody like Gobert. Otherwise, he gets disinterested. He's not the defensive player that you need him to be.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with D-Lo and my problem with Cat, I have a problem with Cat too, is that they play at such a odd pace for the game of basketball to be successful that even though they get theirs, everybody else don't get theirs.
Right.
So it's not so much a selfish brand of basketball. It's just the pacing of it. Even though you see assists, you see rebounds, you see a crap ton of points, the pace throws off the unit and the flow of basketball. It's like they're playing jazz, which has no rhythm. It's up and down and all around. And the rest of the NBA is playing R&B. Yeah, you can do a mashup every once in a while. You're like, oh, yeah, that's a unique sound.
But you're not doing mashups all the time.
You're not doing mashups all the time. So getting back to it, can D'Lo work in LA is the bigger question. Not can Russ work in Minnesota.
And that's to be seen.
And here's the problem. Think of all the teams that D'Lo's been on.
Golden State, been Minnesota, been to LA.
Come on. I want you to really think. LA, he leaves, they start winning more with Lonzo. The Nets.
See, that's why I was like, LA, they mistake, man. It's like you think of all the names they had. And if you
don't say it.
If you handle it the
don't
right way.
Don't say it because you're going to get me to prompt me to say something else.
Bro, bro.
Don't say it.
Bro. Bro, because when Braun had B.I.
Don't
they got
say
it. I can't remember if Julius was there. When Braun was there, I know they had B.I.
They had Julius.
They had some guys that if they would have you feel me, made money work, bring Braun in. We talking about you kept B.I., you kept Lonzo,
no,
you kept Julius.
I'm not having this
Oh
discussion.
my God, LA,
we got 4 minutes. We got 4 minutes.
We gotta go. We gotta talk Pro Bowl and Super Bowl. We gotta go. We'll table this for next week. Bro, we gotta go.
All right,
we gotta go. So Pro Bowl, man. Before we get to Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, man.
Right,
so look, man, we gonna talk about.
All right, the Pro Bowl was fun, and all y'all people who didn't like the old format, this format was fun. For simple fact was even old men playing flag football or guys who couldn't quite make it after college playing flag football, or if you couldn't make it after high school and you played intramural sports at your college. Flag football is just fun, and people forget that they're not wearing pants, and things like Jalen Ramsey, the Cleveland Tyreek Hill happens because you're playing fast and then you react and do something dumb.
It was, though. That was one within the rules of the game. I don't care. Tell me some unnecessary roughness. Boy, ain't no way. I ain't seen that in the Pro Bowl in forever. I ain't seen that in 12 years. So I enjoyed Tyreek getting put on his backslide.
That hit was harder than Sean Taylor on the kicker.
Stop it. So my initial reaction when I saw that, I said, oh. When the last time you said, oh, in the Pro Bowl? When the last time you said that in the Pro Bowl?
Because I know what old people do. Especially when you're playing a kid's game like flag football.
Man, listen, bro. When the last time you watched Pro Bowl and you have to see something that you said, oh.
Okay, they put flag football with 7-on-7 rules and it was hilarious.
And 50 yard.
Oh my God.
We got Gino out there looking like Joe Montana. He's dotting it up. Corner routes. Out routes to Mark Andrews. He's dotting it up.
You let professionals do something that people who ain't professionals do very well.
They really say they said football is a kid's game. No, flag football is
truly a kid's
game. Boy, I'm sorry, they had fun. Diggs throwing picks to Diggs.
Okay,
but it was. They actually, you can see visibly.
They were having fun.
Way more fun than it is with the pass.
Okay.
Pass, but man, go ahead.
Go. Okay, here's the thing. Flag football, if you want to put something in context for the rest of the people out there, flag football is literally like telling Major League Baseball players that they can play T-ball in the All-Star game.
Wiffle ball.
Not even wiffle ball, just T-ball. You bringing it down to that low of a level. You were telling them that, hey, Ken Griffey Jr., hey, Aaron Judge,
tee it up.
Put the ball on the tee and have home run derby off of a tee. That is what you just did for grown men playing. He's like dotting it up.
No, it was.
I can dot it up in flag
But see, in
football.
school, though, in the school, how they like now is like we gonna take if the Pro Bowl has been very well criticized for the lack of interest, entertainment.
No, it was
just
very
do that in
entertaining.
flag football, then throw the games in the mix of it too.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
different. That absolutely.
Oh, and the quote from Derek Carr was hilarious.
Yeah,
if I would have played like this, they would have betrayed me.
Come on. So it's like to see all of that and see how it made it so much fun. I'm not against this format no more because at first I didn't know what to expect. It was different.
And they need to keep it in Vegas because I'm gonna go next year if it's in Vegas. Keep it in Vegas. I'm gonna go because that'll be right before my financial season really kicks up, and I can go and have some fun and watch some grown men who are professional athletes play a sport that I could play right now and do
exceptionally well.
Decently well. I ain't gonna say exceptionally. That I've learned what exceptional was playing flag football. I was like, I've seen people in my athletic experience. I've seen it, and they just got there. They just got there.
When last time you played flag football? Middle school?
No, I actually did it.
No, I'm talking about them.
Oh, them? Oh, God, no. Nah, elementary.
Could be.
Elementary.
They pot water. They pot water then.
Yeah,
they pot water in middle school. So.
Yeah, but middle school PE was the last time they probably played flag football.
They dominated then. They just oh no. Well, I did this back in Coconut Creek. I done did it right here at Sandy Aloysius Pines or something. I don't know, bro. So it was fun. So we already kind of gave y'all our Super Bowl picks, man. We had a whole other week to dive in. Now Super Bowl media week. We trying to get y'all out here. We're about limit. And so again, anything change your mind on your pick or anything to be excited to see for our Super Bowl week? Because I ain't changed. I ain't waver. Have you?
Okay. I wasn't even gonna come on here and convince you to waver.
Mm-hmm.
After digging deeper into it, how we left last show, where I was like, I can see where you're coming from, and you were like, I can see where you're coming from. I'm still there. I understand why this is a half-point game right now, or a point and a half, leaning towards the Eagles because they are healthier. Or sorry, they have more that they can throw at Kansas City.
So we need to talk about when we talk about Kelsey and Dickerson. Lane Johnson. Dickerson is a Pro Bowler too, so it goes from 2 to 3 yards off of line to help them protect. So we said we'll see more as we get there.
I'm gonna piggyback off of somebody nationally who said something, and that is, I'm gambling the game only because I gamble the Super Bowl. Gamble at your own risk out there, but I'm gambling the game because I always gamble the Super Bowl. But this is one of those games I'm a live bet to.
Just in case of swing.
Because I want to see what the first 3 drives look like, or first 2 drives look like.
Okay.
I need to see them out of the script. I need to see them in the script. I need to see them out of the script too. And for people who didn't,
about like a quarter, seeing the quarter play.
So people don't know what the script is. Maybe. Basically, a team will come in, an offensive scheme will come in with 15 to 20 plays that they run out the gate and they don't deviate. And I want to see the script, and I want to see a series without the script. And that usually takes about 2 to 3 drives just to live bet that game and actually pick it. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes one way or the other, but I'm going to stick with my pick because I picked these 2 teams to even be in this game.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with the Chiefs. He's sticking with the Eagles. And this is not, hey, because we got to pick against each other like we sometimes do. This is legitimate. We pick against each other. Mahomes Super Bowl MVP is mine. For you, what you got?
I'm gonna go Arthur Warren. Dark horse. I'm gonna go Arthur Warren. I feel like this is his moment. He been in Tennessee, man, and felt like he had a lot more to prove. And then year 1 in the new system, and he's thriving.
Receiving winning Super Bowl MVP hasn't been done since Jerry Rice.
So man, I'm gonna go Arthur Warren. I'm only saying that because I feel like they have a lot to test the secondary, and the AJ is just a specimen.
Oh, no doubt.
He's just a specimen. So
I give you that.
Like, it's just more so I don't want to. In my opinion, I don't want to go obvious. Cause like I said, you naturally gonna go Jalen Hurts, Patty Mahomes. You feel like that's just natural picks because that's who really dictates the game. And I really can see Jalen because he's going to pass and run. If he can do the running successfully, they don't need pass.
No, but I get picking AJ. I do get picking AJ. So
AJ.
I like that. I might actually put that on the ticket, one of my tickets.
AJ.
For me with Mahomes, what I've been seeing from him during this playoff run is that he can be flashy or he can be gritty.
Come on.
So he has too many styles that he can play to go out there and get the win. And if it's a gritty game, you're gonna pick the guy who's the quarterback. Now, if it's a flashy game, you might slip in a Pacheco or a Kelsey or Juju, depending on how many they catch. Man, either way, if this is a brawl type of football game, it's gonna be fun, just like the Cincinnati game. And if this is,
we say we in for a treat, then we get a Seattle Denver Broncos match.
Well, I called that one. I can call my boy Eric right now. That man will tell you how I bet the entire clerk and comptroller's office and county criminal court division that Seattle was going to beat the brakes off of them. And they were like, it's Peyton Manning. It's Peyton Manning. I was like, you really don't know how many great
NFL, man. Just go ahead and give me the script, bro. Like, go ahead and give me the script, okay? Look, I'm not going to tell nobody.
Have you seen the meme with Deshaun Watson read his script? I'm going to do what?
Hey,
what?
I'll take that. Ooh, I want her to. I'm taking that. Yeah. No, let us get the script. We're not going to tell nobody, bro. We're not going back on the air no time soon. Let me get the script, bro.
Look, Matt Ryan reading his script.
They talking about.
Oh my God!
They talking about Tom Brady reading this script. That Shannon Sharp video. Oh boy! No, man. We got to get y'all out of here. We got to go. This has been one of your more off scripts, off Kindle Spot the Ball podcast.
This was fun.
I'm your guy, Willie Love. This is my main man.
Ron Wells.
We're going to pick up on the GOAT debate or NBA next week. We're going to start next week. We ain't going to give you 2 weeks. We're going to start next week.
Oh, no, Skip. We ain't doing skill.
Hey, sir. We're going next week. So be prepared. But until
we ain't talking about Lakers.
Until then, we'll see y'all boys next time.
All right. Have a good one, guys.